It started with a gust of wind and a half-cold mug of coffee. I was sitting on my porch like I did every spring morning, watching the clouds crawl low over the ridge, when my buddy Luke buzzed the fields in his old Cessna like a dragonfly with engine trouble. He landed rough, kicked up dust, and strolled over chewing sunflower seeds like it was just any other Tuesday. "You building condos up on the North Ridge?" he asked, spitting a shell without breaking stride. I stared at him. "You smack your head on landing?" "Nope. Flew over it twice this week. Saw steel frames, big ones. 10 houses, easy. Looks like they're getting ready to pour asphalt. Even spotted a food truck." I blinked into my coffee, trying to make sense of it. I hadn't been up to the North Ridge in years. That part of the land, the wild hills my grandfather called God's forgotten knuckles, was always the least useful chunk of the 4,700 acres he left me. Dry, stubborn, full of snakes and silence. I'd been too busy keeping the main farm from falling apart to worry about hills that never grew more than tumbleweeds. But I knew they were mine. By noon, I had a rental drone from a hobby shop 2 towns over and had driven up the service road till the dirt got mean. Launched it from the bed of my truck and watched the feed in disbelief. 10 houses. Framed in steel, Tyvek wrap flapping in the wind, roof tiles stacked like smug little pyramids. Roads carved like surgical lines into my land. Signs too big, bold, expensive. Juniper Valley Estates Phase 2 coming summer 2025. Except I wasn't selling. And my name wasn't on any of those signs. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was scared. I'm not the panicking type. But something about those houses sitting there like they belonged like I didn't. That got under my skin. I pulled every old map, every deed, every tax receipt my granddad ever touched. Section 44 through 51 clear, as they belonged to the Pierce Family Trust. My trust now. Paid up. No easements. No subdivisions. No transfers. So who the hell gave anyone the right to build? The next morning, I called up old Walt Hughes, a surveyor who used to drink whiskey with my granddad and could still shoot a nail into a fence post from 50 feet. He met me up on the ridge with his GPS gear, took his readings, frowned like he'd bitten something sour. "They're not just over the line, Sam," he said. "They're 200 yards deep. This ain't a mistake. It's a theft clean and planned. We flagged the perimeter with red stakes." I filmed every step, compiled a binder with maps, drone shots, tax history, and a field report signed by Walt. Then I took it all to the county planning office and met with a clerk named Denise. She flipped through the binder page by page, and her expression went from bored to baffled to downright worried. "There's no zoning approval," she muttered. "No permits. Nothing for Phase 2 under Juniper Valley. And this signature," she pointed at one page, "that's not on file. In fact, that land's still registered to you." I didn't say I told you so. I just nodded, thanked her, and walked out with grit in my boots and fire in my belly. 2 days later, I drove up to the ridge again, thinking I'd just take another look. What I found instead looked like a real estate festival. SUVs, catered tents, a food truck offering farm-to-fork samples. And right in the middle of it all, wearing a power suit and a fake smile, was the HOA president herself, Jocelyn Cray. I knew her name from the HOA's website and the occasional lawsuit they threw around over mailbox colors and lawn heights. Mid-50s, shellacked hair, voice like a blender full of marbles. She was giving a tour to well-dressed couples, pointing up at the homes like she was Moses descending with blueprints from on high. I walked up slow, dusty boots and all. "You're trespassing," she snapped before I even opened my mouth. "No," I said. "You are. This is my land." She laughed like I was the entertainment. "That's cute. Everything here is fully approved through Juniper HOA and the county." I pulled out my binder like it was a Bible. This land wasn't sold, wasn't transferred. These homes, built on Pierce land. And I'm Pierce. Her smile vanished like a switch got flipped. She hissed something to an assistant. then looked back at me with a glare that could curdle milk. "I'm calling the sheriff," she said, real loud. "You're aggressive, unstable, threatening potential buyers." "Perfect," I said. "Ask for Sheriff Holt. Tell him Sam Pierce says hi." Sheriff Holt had taught me how to field dress a deer. Played poker with my dad. I wasn't bluffing. 20 minutes later, his cruiser rolled up. He didn't draw his gun or bark orders. Just shook my hand, looked around, and said, "Jocelyn, what the hell are you doing on Sam's land?" She stammered. Her tour group stared. By sundown, Holt had suspended all construction. The county had launched an investigation. Jocelyn's smile was gone, and my land was quiet again. For now. But I knew she wasn't done. I hired Teresa Maddox's lawyer, known around Reno as the Velvet Guillotine. Elegant, polite, absolutely lethal. She read everything I brought her and said, "We're not suing a homeowners group. We're taking down an operation." She filed suit within a week. Demanded full forfeiture of all structures, damages, legal fees, and criminal investigation into forged zoning documents. Jocelyn's response: "More construction." I went back up to the ridge. Roofers were hammering, landscapers planting fake junipers, workers dragging around fake boulders like they were set dressing a sitcom. I shut it down again, this time with court orders taped to every frame. Sheriff Holt brought zoning officials in person. One foreman nearly got cuffed for refusing to leave. But then came the hammer mails leaked by someone inside the HOA's IT contractor. Jocelyn and her treasurer David Redden had cooked this up from the start. She promised him 30% of profits if they could build before anyone noticed. He forged my grandfather's signature using a transparency overlay. Traced it straight off a 1992 deed. That was the moment this stopped being personal, it became federal. The county pressed charges. FBI got involved over the environmental zone violations. 3 of the homes had been built smack on a mule deer migration corridor protected since the 1980s. Jocelyn was arrested at her country club brunch. David was pulled from his home office surrounded by rubber stamps, fake seals, and boxes of blank permits. They pled not guilty. Of course they did. The courtroom was packed like a football game. Local news vans outside, folks whispering over thermoses. Teresa lit them up. No theatrics, just evidence. Aerial shots, notarized maps, financial trails, timestamps, email chains. She read Jocelyn's own words to the jury. "It's not like the guy even checks that part of the ridge." The jury took 5 hours. Guilty on all counts. Jocelyn got 6 years in state prison. David got 10 without parole. HOA board resigned in shame. Juniper Valley Estates was shut down permanently. And me? The judge awarded me full rights to all 10 houses. Legally mine now. I could have sold them, sued the county, bulldozed them into dust. Instead, I did what my grandfather would have done. I fixed them up. Nothing flashy, just solid. Weatherproof. Honest. Then I partnered with a nonprofit to house environmental students and young conservationists. Folks who understood the land. By summer, 6 houses were lit from within. One kid was building a wind turbine out of scrap. Another was raising goats. One couple planted wildflowers for pollinators. I put up a new sign near the gravel road. Carved cedar. Private land. EST. 1942. Still standing. And below it, in smaller letters, "If you think you own it, bring paperwork." Sometimes I drive up there after sundown just to watch the porch lights glow in the distance. Not a development. Not a scandal. Just life. Quiet, earned, and real. I didn't ask for a fight, but I sure as hell finished it. And I'll be damned if anyone ever tries to take this land from me again. Now I want to hear from you. What would you have done if someone tried to steal your land? Would you fight back like I did, or walk away? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share your own story if you've ever gone toe-to-toe with a crooked HOA. And don't forget to like and subscribe if this tale hit home. Because sometimes justice doesn't come easy, but when it does, it's worth every step.